Hey guys, today's episode is what to do when the challenges get really hard as a dyslexic person. It feels so impossible, so insurmountable. I'm going to be talking to you about my experience and the experience of the people that I'm coaching and how we can navigate this progress, how navigate this situation. I feel this podcast will be extremely valuable to you, so please share it, please leave a comment, and please subscribe, and I really appreciate me and help me grow this and help it impact more people. And guys, I really hope you enjoy the episode. So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be? Or in other words, conquer their dyslexia? That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast. Hello guys, and I hope we're good. And today I want to speak to us about what to do when the challenges of dyslexia, or the challenges we have having dyslexia, get really, really hard. I want to dive deep into this because I had a few experiences recently in the last couple of months myself and speaking to other people and a couple of my clients really thinking, wow, this is a big problem you're facing, and kind of how to navigate it and how to really think about it and find your way through these challenges where it feels so unjust. It feels so awful. It feels like the world is, the sky is falling, the world is collapsing down around you. Nothing works, nothing is happening, nothing's getting better. It feels awful and awful and awful. Like, for example, you're in a job and your boss is just unbelievably awful and he gives you work and he just doesn't understand how hard you work and how hard you try. And he thinks you're lazy and you keep on pushing through. Like in school when you work 10 times harder than everyone else and you still fail at the English test. You still fail at spelling those words or doing that thing. Or for example, you really want to do something and it's just, there's so much confusion around it, or your emotions just go in some direction. And I want to be covering what happens when there's a challenge we face that feels insurmountable, a challenge we face that we can't get over, that we look at it thinking, oh my God, not this, when it feels like we're down to our last leg and then we get hit with a massive number challenge. And far too often, us as dyslexics experience this multiple times in our life. When, like because we have struggles reading and writing, remembering names, doing certain things. And then in our work, so often in school, we've been put in environments that it feels close to impossible to remember those things, to do those things, to write those names, to read that thing, to remember directions, to remember the list, to be able to speak to these people, be able to, execute on this plan or write this document. And there's so many times we feel like that, and we feel so much overwhelmed. And a lot of us think it's the worst experience in life, having this and having people don't understand because they find it so easy and they can do it and they get the grade, they get the promotion, they get the money, they get the job. So often you, not for a lack of trying, you tried so hard to get it, but you can't. But you fail at it, even though you've worked twice as hard as everyone else, you still fail and people still look down as less than other people because you can't do that. And so what do you do? What do you do when that happens? And I'm a client, like coaching people or coaching, not going to mention her name, but basically she was saying she was on the phone for a whole hour and saying, look, she's in the middle, first year of studying for, I can't remember what course, what's it called again? It's nursing care, I can't remember, but social worker course. She really wants to be a social worker because she knows that she had a bad past, she wants to help other people and all this stuff. I think it's a really good reason why she's doing it. But the amount of work she has to do, and by the way, she's in the country, not English, she's in Lithuania. The amount of work she has to do, and how to keep up. And there's all these different there's English here, there's this other project, this other course, kind of subject here, this other subject here, all these surprise tests and things moving down, and she loses things and get things lost, and she works really hard and spell corrects this and sends this off, it gets bad, she doesn't know what to do with this, and it's just like, how do you sort this world out? And like we've done stuff before in the past. It's just sometimes it can feel too much, too overcrowded. And so what to do? Like, she hasn't got someone who can help her all the time. She hasn't. She doesn't feel like she has a close connection with other people who are on that course. Have all these challenges, and it's like, okay, what can you do? Like, if, as a person going through that, it feels like hell, doesn't it? It feels like hell around you. And these challenges come up. You think you've got the right thing. You think you're doing the right stuff, and then this challenge comes up saying, "Oh, you're too late. You're 2 weeks late for this test. This assignment is due tomorrow." They didn't do any work on. And for normal people, that's for like average people, like neurotypical people, that's fine because they can smash it out. But for a dyslexic person, they have to write it, rewrite it, have it sent off, rewrite it until it's finished. So that makes sense. It's like, okay, what do we do? And the first thing got like someone like her, and really, if you're going through these times where everything's coming at you, you have to plan. You have to plan. Obsessively plan. But not creating one little plan you do once a week, but every morning and every evening you see, okay, here are my subjects, or here's my main things, here's my main categories I have to work on. Job, okay, here's the other things. Home life, this is my other things. Or for example, okay, I'm studying this, and okay, here's the other elements of this, and here's when the test to do, and here's what's happening. Okay, these are all where like the deadlines are, and where my goals for these things. And now what do I have to do? And just basically looking at day, like in the morning, in the evening. In the morning review, okay, this is what I have to do today. In the evening review, okay, this is what I've done, and let's create a plan for tomorrow. And it's just doing those things, and obviously it's obviously things are changing each day, and at the week, create a week plan and doing all that. And I was speaking that to her. And it's like, okay, so she knows in advance, like, okay, there's this test in 2 weeks' time, there's a surprise test in 5 days' time. So you can think about it, like, okay, I can see these challenges coming up. I can see where these roadblocks, and to do that, that's going to be really hard. That's going to take a lot of time. And here are my challenges. My challenges are, you mean reading, writing, spell correcting, losing things. Okay, here are my challenges. And how can I get among these challenges? And I think the first step, if like everyone's getting forward in life, and I remember this myself, you know what I mean? Planning is the biggest thing. Planning. If you don't have a proper planning system, you won't be able to be effective. Especially as a dyslexic, because our minds, if I don't plan, everything's gone. Everything's gone by the wayside if I don't do my morning ritual and plan certain things, like legit plan. And it's like, for her, like the coaching person coaching, she has all these challenges, like, okay, but she finds it so hard because she worked for this project 5 hours and sent it off and sent back saying this is awful, because spelling mistakes, all this stuff. Then this person doesn't understand what dyslexia is. She feels she can't communicate what dyslexia is to other people because they would look at it wrong, they can see it wrong, and because in Lithuanian, she believes that there's no things for spell correcting, there's no things that can spell correct her work, you mean there's no things they can speak into, there's no things that can read it back to you. And what I was saying, I was trying to look for resources, but I was saying, look, it's out there for English, but I guarantee you there are ways out there as well. There'll be for Lithuanian. It's just a different language, but a lot of people speak that language, and then a lot of people, you know what I mean, who have dyslexia would have made something out of a certain software, a certain thing that you can get for free. And my belief is, look, search. Like the answer's there if you are willing to put in the work to find it. You mean like. You won't use the help that you haven't earned. You won't use the help that you haven't worked to get. You haven't used the help that you don't appreciate. So you're going to go out and find it, and I promise you the answers will be there. It might be not what you want, but you might find a solution to it. So it's like, okay, here's the 3 things that you need to find. Number 1, something that you can speak into that would say text up, that's silly or something like that. Something you speak into that you listen to you, say, okay, this is what you said in Lithuanian, English, or whatever language, okay? That's number 1. So then, for example, you want to spell a certain word, you speak into it, you say it. You mean you want to check stuff, you know what I mean? That's the first thing. Second thing is something that can read for you. Or it can be something that you read what you wrote. You wrote a paragraph, reads it back to you, see if it's good or absolute rubbish. Or something you can read a book to you. You mean something that can scan a book for now? There's apps out there, there's things out there. Now I know this is really easy for the English language, but for Lithuanian it's difficult. I've never said it's impossible. And so you had the belief that saying it's impossible to do these things. It's not impossible, okay? You only know it's impossible until you looked everywhere. But it's about chatting to her and she hasn't looked everywhere. She tried a little bit, then hasn't tried. I mean, that's not bad on her part. It's just what people do because they don't believe it's out there or they don't know the solutions out there. Okay, that's the second thing you do. Have something that speaks back to you. And the third thing you need is what I call a cheerleader. This can be a family member, this can be a close friend, but someone you can send something to and rely upon them to look over it, to read it to you. And that's what you have to find. You have to build those relationships to find someone that can be your cheerleader. Okay, it's the first three things that you have to find. And these were like the top three, what I call, they're called assistive technologies. Top three technologies: a real person, something that can speak back to you, something that can you can speak to. Okay, those are three things. Once you have that, you'll be so much more ahead in your journey. And yes, things are up. Yes, things are down. Yes, things aren't going smoothly. But the biggest, outside all that, okay, that's the strategy. But outside all that, the biggest thing, like, I feel it's belief. I feel you have to believe, number one, that you can do it. That it can be done by you. This thing can be done by someone in your circumstances. This thing you want, this getting out of this hellhole, doing this project, getting this thing done, the one thing you have to believe is that someone in your circumstances can do it. It can be done by someone like you. The first thing you have to believe, otherwise it'll be so hard doing it. The second thing is that you as an individual, like me as my individual, can do it. We can believe it can be done. Can believe I can get out there. Can believe there's a way around it. They can believe that there's some sort of grace in this hellhole. That there's some solution to it. Okay, that's number two. You believe that you can do it. And number three, believe that it's worth it. Believe that the struggle you're going through is worth it. There's one big reason why a struggle is worth it. And this is what motivates me because that's how my values are wired. But I really hope it motivates you because it's so important. It's who you become in the process of getting through that challenge. It's that person you become. For example, me in getting my C in English, I would never believe in 1,000 years I would ever do it. But once I first believed that it might be able to be done in some of my circumstances, believed that I could do it with enough work, with enough doing this, and then believed it would be worth it because of who I'd become. After I did it, guess what? I said to myself, I could do this thing that I believed that was literally impossible. Now what can I do? And it set me on the journey of doing so many things. You mean, wrote a book, done this, done that. Because I've grown. Because I became a person who can do that. And that's the thing that you have to realise. Look, okay, imagine like one day you woke up and they give you finish that. You see that grade on the test of paper, you see that thing. And then how amazing would that feel? Feels so good. And now then what else could you do? Because those are three things you have to believe internally about the project, about the hellhole you're going through. And this can apply not just to things of dyslexic nature, things like going through a divorce, going through a breakup, changing schools, changing jobs, changing this. Believe that it can be done by someone in your circumstances, believe that you can do it, and believe that it's worth it, that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That this struggle you're going through is better than giving up and taking the easy option. You believe that it's worth it. Keep grinding, keep fighting. Keep fighting this stuff. Because look, at the end of the day, this is making you stronger. 10 years from now, you look back and smile and know that this journey made you grow to where you want to be, made you grow to the person you are now. And look, if you're going, like as a saying, if you're going through hell, keep going. I said it to myself when I was running, going through hell. Keep going, keep moving forward, keep doing it. And like, look, there's challenges that happen in my life still, like with names. I still know the names of like so many kids that I've known for months. And I get muck up things that are quite important because I just muck them up because whatever. And like, I make these mistakes. Like, okay, how do I deal with these mistakes? How do I move forward and how do I do that? And I think, look, after we go through a massive hard time in our life, you know what I mean? Like something that's extremely challenging, we come through the other end. We're like, oh my God, I've done it. Even though we may not got the perfect result we wanted to when we went in there, we still would have went out of there with a new us, with a new person, with a new identity, because we've struggled so much, done the impossible. And then look, be able to do more things, be able to believe in ourselves more. We see like the true capability about what's out there, and at the end of the day, that's what conquering dyslexia means. Not letting dyslexia stop you. And yes, that does not mean it's going to be easy. It does not mean it's going to be nice. It means you're going to live a lot harder life at the start than most other people. But then after the start, after you've been through that rubbish, the rest of your life will be so much more easier because you learn that strength. And because you go through that hard time, all these little hiccups won't affect you as much if you don't let them. If you create that resilience, if you learn from your mistakes, if you say, okay, I'm not a victim of this, I'm in control of my circumstances, I'm in control of this, change the meaning of the hell. If you think the meaning of the hell is I'm a victim, then you'll always be victimized. But if you change the meaning, saying, okay, I'm a victim to, this is for me to grow. This is how I can be an example. This is how I'll be stronger than anyone else. This is how I develop work ethic. This is how I can conquer my dyslexia. Change the meaning of it, and you move forward. Guys, I really hope you enjoy this, and please, I think you can like a podcast, share it, do all these things, and it would really help me. I feel it's valuable. All right, guys, take care, and bye.